You know, for Muslims everywhere, there's this incredible practice that's both a physical cleansing and a spiritual preparation. It's like a key that unlocks the door to prayer. Today, we're going to dive into the blueprint for this profound ritual, wudu, looking at it through the lens of the authentic narrations in Sahih al-Bukhari.
This statement from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, couldn't be clearer. I mean, think about that. Prayer, which is the central pillar of Islam, is just not accepted without this state of ritual purity. So wudu isn't some optional recommendation. It's an absolute prerequisite.
So, to really get our heads around the depth of this practice, we're going to break our journey down into three key parts. We'll look at the why, its spiritual purpose, then the what, the principles that govern it, and finally, the how, the precise method for doing it.
Okay, first up, the why. We know wudu is a must for prayer, but what's the deeper spiritual meaning here? What is it about this simple, daily act of just washing with water that makes it so incredibly profound?
And wow, this slide just lays out two incredible rewards, two powerful reasons this is so important. On the left, wudu is a mark of recognition. Just imagine, on the day of resurrection, being identified by a radiant light shining from the very parts of your body you use to wash for prayer. And on the right, it's this powerful tool for this life, an expiation for sins. If you perform a perfect wudu and follow it with a focused prayer, your past sins can be forgiven. It's like a daily chance for a complete spiritual reset.
All right, so now that we've got a handle on the profound why behind wudu, it's time to get into the practical side of things, the what. How do we get into and stay in this state of purity? And maybe just as important, what are the things that actually break it?
Yeah, this is the big question for this section, right? What are the specific actions or states that cancel out our wudu and mean we have to do it all over again before we can pray?
Okay, so the key term you need to know here is hadath, which basically means a state of ritual impurity. When the Prophet was asked to define it, he gave the most common example, passing wind. But it's not just that. This state also includes other things like using the bathroom or falling into a deep sleep where you're not aware of your surroundings. Basically, they're physical signals that tell you, hey, it's time to renew your spiritual readiness for prayer.
And this brings us to a really brilliant legal principle that's built right into the faith to make things easier, the principle of certainty. These scales here show it perfectly. The idea is that your certainty, the fact that you know you performed wudu, isn't just wiped away by a simple doubt. As the Prophet taught, unless you have definitive proof, like you actually hear a sound or smell something, you're still considered pure. No second guessing needed.
You know, what's interesting is that maintaining that state of purity we just talked about, well, it often starts even before the wudu itself. The physical cleansing you do after using the lavatory, which is called istinja, has its own set of prophetic guidelines that really lay the foundation for the ritual purification that comes next. Okay, so let's break down the do's and don'ts. First off, using water is the go-to method. It's what's preferred. But if water's not around, you can use an odd number of stones, like 3. Now for the don'ts, and this is interesting, the right hand is kept for pure actions, like eating and drinking, so you don't use it for cleansing. And the Prophet was very clear about not using bone or dung. I mean, he called them a filthy thing. It really drives home the point about being completely and thoroughly clean.
All right, we've covered the why and the what. Now we get to the absolute heart of the practice, the how. So let's walk through, step by step, the exact physical method of wudu, as the Prophet himself taught and showed us.
Okay, let's go through this together. It all kicks off with the intention in your heart in saying Bismillah. Then you wash your hands 3 times. After that, you rinse your mouth 3 times. And then you cleanse your nose by sniffing water in and blowing it out, also 3 times. And to finish this first part, you wash your entire face, from your hairline down to your chin, and from ear to ear 3 times, making absolutely sure you get every single part.
Okay, and we're not done yet. Next up, you wash both of your arms thoroughly, all the way up to and including the elbows, 3 times. Then, and this is a key difference, you wipe over your head with your wet hands, but just once. And finally, to wrap it all up, you wash both feet, including the ankles, 3 times. And don't forget to wash between the toes. And just like that, your wudu is complete. You're ready. So we just went through a very precise method, right? But what's amazing is that the tradition also builds in this incredible amount of practical flexibility and ease. It's not meant to be rigid or difficult. This table lays it out perfectly. So yeah, washing each part 3 times is the most complete way to do it. But the Prophet also performed wudu by washing each part just twice, or even only once. And get this, all 3 ways are totally valid.
It's such a beautiful example of how practical and non-burdensome the faith is designed to be.
Let's just quickly touch on a few key details that really show how comprehensive this all is. First, precision. There's this famous warning of the heels, which was a pretty stern reminder from the Prophet to be thorough and not to rush, making sure every spot gets wet. Then there's flexibility, like the well-known permission to just wipe over leather socks under certain conditions. And finally, a point of clarification. Something simple like eating cooked food doesn't mean you have to go and make a new ablution. So, let's bring all these threads together now, the physical actions, the spiritual purpose, the legal rules, to really see the whole masterpiece, what wudu is all about.
This visual, man, it just nails it. You see, wudu isn't just one thing. It's this powerful meeting point of three huge ideas: physical purity, which is about hygiene and cleanliness; spiritual readiness, which is about preparing your soul to stand before God; and prophetic emulation, the conscious choice to follow the Prophet's example. Wudu is right there in the middle, the heart where all three of these ideas come together.
But here's the thing that's really amazing. The power of this practice doesn't just stop at the prayer mat. It actually extends into the very last moments of our day. The Prophet gave specific advice to perform the same wudu before going to sleep, basically turning a daily habit into this final, beautiful act of devotion before you close your eyes.
And with that advice came this just incredible promise. The Prophet told his followers that if they performed this ablution before sleeping and then happened to pass away that night, they would die in a state of pure faith. Just think about that. It transforms a simple act of washing into your soul's final preparation. It's a way to end your day, or maybe even your life, in the absolute best state possible. What a profound and beautiful completion to this prophetic blueprint for purity.